Hi. So a quick video on Tracy Chapman's Talking About a Revolution. So the chords, as we saw, G, C add 9, E minor and D. Now you can play the G as a 4-finger G. It would be better to play it as a 3-finger G because you can really hear that open B string. So the 3-finger G is first and second fingers in usual place, and third finger on the 3rd fret of the top E string. Or you can just not fret any of the thin strings of the top strings, and with your strum just try to aim to go down as low as the B string so that it sounds like that and not like this, where you can hear that top E string. If that seems too much, although that is a good thing to practice, but if that seems too much, just try any G you feel comfortable with, 4-finger or 3-finger, but the 3-finger one is best. I'm going to do it at the moment as I'm just not fretting any of these thin strings. So think of the chords as 2 groups of 2 chords, and you go to the second chord of each group on the and of 2. So you go 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 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 the strumming pattern is that so ubiquitous one of down, down, up, up, down. You can put an up at the end of that, but she doesn't. So we got 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. And now the embellishments. So when she's going, let's do the E minor to D first, because that's the easier one. Because basically what you're doing is you're just making a D sus4 by putting your little finger on the 3rd fret of the top E string. So that instead of this, you've got this sound. So what that is, on the E, just 2 downstrokes on beat 1 and 2. Then you go to the D on an upstroke because you're going on the and of 2, so 1 and 2 and. Then you got another upstroke, 1 and 2 and 3 and. It's the end of 3. And instead of just your simple D major chord, your straightforward D major chord, you add your little finger to the 3rd fret of the top E string to give you that chord, which is a D sus4. So you've got 1 and 2 and 3 and then on your final strum, which is a downbeat of 4, so it's a down strum, you take your little finger off, so you're just playing a D major again. So you've got this. Okay, hope that one's okay. So now the first one, going from the G to the C add 9. So on the G, however you fret the G, you just play 2 down strums, which is beats 1 and 2, 1 and 2. You go to the C add 9 on the upbeat of 2, so you go to that chord on an upstroke, 1 and 2 and. But instead of fretting a full C add 9, which would be like a 4-finger G, but with fingers 1 and 2 on the A string and D string, 3rd and 2nd fret. So instead of, let's see, X, 3, 2, 0, 3, 3, you're going to have X, 3, 2, 0, 3, X. So that top string, you're not going to fret. You're not going to put a finger on the thin E string. And the underside of your 3rd finger, you want the angle of the fingers to be not so much classical style, but slightly flattened on the strings, so that the underside of the 3rd finger mutes that top E string, that thin E string. So that when you do your upstroke, the highest note you hear, the melody note, is that third fret of the B string. You don't hear the top E string, so you get this sound. Well, it's got it wrong. Okay, then, so we got 1 and 2 and 3, then we've got another upstroke. Then you do want to hear, on the second upstroke, which is the end of 3, 1 and 2 and 3 and, then you do want to hear the open E string. So you simply, or perhaps not so simply, but you hopefully simply move the underside of your third finger away from that top E string. You can see maybe the angle of my hand changing. There I'm muting the top E string and fretting the B string, and there I'm not muting the top E string and still fretting the B string. Yeah, so you get this little melody of, you get to hear those notes. Okay, and then on the final downstroke, you go back to muting the top E string, so that the highest note again that you hear is that D note, the third fret of the B string. So we've got this. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4. Okay, hope that's okay. So all together. Okay, hope that helps.